welcome to Still Standing TV show. I am your host, Nikyra McCann. And today in this episode, we will discuss being an overcomer. And yes, you too can be an overcomer. Just a little bit about myself. At the age 20 years old, I was diagnosed with a mental illness. I remember times being in isolation, 18 hours trapped to a hospital bed as I was wanting to be released so that I can get well. And I think back to those times and I think, oh my goodness, how did I overcome, right? How did I get to this path of where I am today? So I began to speak out about my story throughout my city and throughout the world to inspire others that they can get well as well. So as I began to speak out about my story, I then learned that I too myself have become an overcomer. I too myself have lifted up my head and I am too an overcomer. So I remember times, as I said, being in isolation, 18 hours trapped to a hospital bed, cycling, out of my mind, unstable. And I think back to how I had family support to get me to where I am today. So now I am the board vice president at NAMI Dane County, where I advocate. I'm also the chair of the advocacy committee, where I now advocate to help people to get well, help people to get better. And recently, I was appointed by Governor Tony Evers to the Wisconsin Council on Mental Health. Now, I said that to say, how did little bitty old me, trapped in isolation, become an overcomer? I became an overcomer by looking past my past and knowing that there was a brighter future ahead. I became an overcomer by not giving up on myself. I had to dig deep down within myself to keep pushing forward. And as I began to speak my story here, speak my story there, I began to lift my head up a little higher. I began to walk a little straighter. I began to know that by me overcoming, that I would help others overcome also. So I say to you today, no matter what you are going through, you may have heartache, you may have pain, you may have lost a loved one, you may have had a miscarriage or dealing with diabetes, but I just want to let you know that there is a God who can deliver you. There is a God who can set you free. The same God that delivered me, the same God that gave me strength to keep going, it's the same God who can help you in your story to become that same overcomer. And you may have had some bad days, right? Days where you wanted to give up. Days where you had pain, so much pain, you couldn't get out of bed. But you're here today. And in being here today, that's one more chance for you to get better. That's one more chance for you to finish school. That's one more chance for you to graduate. That's one more chance for you to open up that business. That's one more chance for you to have the family that you desire. So even if you may be in sorrow right now, today, please know that you can become an overcomer. And in becoming an overcomer, you realize that the things that you went through was meant to shape you for who you're becoming today. See, that hurt, that pain, you thought it was meant to stop you, but really it was meant for you to discover yourself, when really it was meant for you to see that you're a queen, that you're a king, and that everything that you want to do, all your goals, you can accomplish them. So I say to you today, with everything in me, lift up your head. Do not sorrow. Do not be in pain. Lift up your head because you are an overcomer. And one last thing I wanted to say. I remember a time when I had got stabbed in my face. I received 38 stitches in my face, punctured in my face 12 times. And I remember going into the gas station and putting my hand on the counter, and blood was just flowing on the counter. and the ambulance came and rushed me to the hospital. But I'm still standing here today by the grace of God. I'm still standing here to let you know that you can still stand too, that you can too be that overcomer. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. I'm still standing as a living proof image that you can do the same too, that there is a God who can shape and restore your life just as he did mine. So in your sorrow, if you're in sorrow, lift your head up, pick up that smile, and don't give up, because better days are coming. You're one step closer to your victory. You're one step closer to being that overcomer. And you're one step closer to God showing you that he loves you. Welcome back to Still Standing TV show. I am Nikyra McCann, and I'm so honored that you're watching today. And today we are speaking of being an overcomer. And earlier I spoke about my personal story, my own personal lived experience about being an overcomer. And one other person who I would like to speak about is Martin Luther King, how he was an overcomer. He was a predominant civil rights leader, and he fought for justice in the land, in the world. And so I just want to say how he was dealing with depression and suicide ideation as he was once living back in the day. But he still rose, and he still rose to be this powerful person, to leave behind a legacy, to really empower and shape the world, right? And so I think of how he had these struggles and how he had to endure what he went through, but he kept going. He didn't let it stop him. And when he passed away, now his name is a legacy, right? Now his name lives on to help people to keep getting better, to help systems of oppression to keep being changed, right? By one man standing up and saying, hey, I see change, and I know that we can make this change. So Martin Luther King's story speaks to me because when I think of everything that I've been through in my past, it shows me that I can too be an overcomer, right? That I can too keep pushing forward towards the things holding me back and be great. And Martin Luther King, I think about how when he was alive back in the days and how there was so much discrimination and segregation and different things like that. And how I always think like, we're past all of this right now. Like how everyone was segregated back in the days, but how we are now, like we're such in a good, potent place to overcome together. We're in a potent place. We're not in those times anymore. We have this beautiful world, these beautiful cities, these beautiful establishments and businesses that we can all just come together and overcome together. And I always just speak of unity, how we can overcome in unity together, and how I feel that there shouldn't be any division in the world, even no matter what race you are, what age you are. I think that we should all come together and show love and kindness towards each other and show empathy towards each other. And with Martin Luther King, it just really makes me think of just growth, right? Just how you can be down or have this sorrow, but you can still overcome and make a powerful difference in the world. How your sorrow can be watering the seeds of your growth. How your sorrow can be watering your destiny. How your sorrow can just be bringing up something so powerful up out of you. And I just want to thank Martin Luther King for all of his work and just everything that he did in the world. And thank you to his family for keeping his legacy alive and keep moving forward. And just speaking back to being an overcomer. And when I think of how the sorrow and the pain and the depression that he had to go through from the oppression that he was dealing with, it still transformed a nation. It still transformed the United States, that things are different now. And now that we're in a better place, we can continue to work together so that we can now make things better. And I think there's so much division in the world right now. But if we could just come together and just really look past our differences, look past our faults, that we can overcome together. We can overcome what we're going through in the world right now. We can overcome this together. And I just always speak of unity, right? With my own personal story, what I went through and where I am now, the places that I go to, the people that I meet, it's always about unity. And I think that we can overcome and be better together than we are apart. So just in overcoming, you may have people in your life who you feel distant from, or who you feel that they're not like you, that you shouldn't be connected to them. But in our differences, we become alive. In our differences, we become our human traits. In our differences, we become the beings who we were destined to be. So I just want to encourage you that you are an overcomer, and you may be going through some things. You may be have a lot on you right now. It could be finances, anything. But I just want to let you know that even all races, I just speak to you. It's time for unity. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to overcome our differences and unite and be in unity and live in this world of freedom that we all hope for, and live in this world of justice that we all have called for. So continue into your life, continue into just being your best self, your best being, because I believe in Martin Luther King's dream that we can overcome by unity. We can overcome by all races coming together as one and living this life in unity. So I just want to just say that keep your head lifted, and better days are coming, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Still Standing TV show. I'm your host, Nikyra McCann, and today we've been speaking of being an overcomer, being someone of importance, being someone of empowerment, being someone of not letting our past hold us back, but taking our past and paths and shaping them for greatness. So I've spoke about my personal story. I've spoken about Martin Luther King, and one other person I would like to speak about is Rosa Parks, with this being Black History Month. So, Rosa Parks was the mother of the Civil Rights Unit. She refused to give up her seat, and as her not giving up her seat, it shaped the Civil Rights Movement of 17,000 Blacks for justice for everyone in the world to be able to sit on the bus, right? And Rosa Parks sat down, and with her sitting down, she created a legacy. With her sitting down, she shaped of movement for better for the world, right? So I say to you today, in your overcoming, we know that we have to overcome things. But what is one thing that you need to sit down on, like Rosa Parks did? Is it hurt? Is it shame? Is it envy? Is it jealousy? Is it unforgiveness? What is it that you need to sit down on so that you can overcome and be who you want to be and be that one great person that you are destined to be? And I think of overcoming, right? And how sometimes you can have your back up against the wall and don't know which way you're going to turn. But when you look to God and you lift your head up to God and you pray and you seek him out, he will make a way for you. He will deliver you. Just as he did Rosa Parks, right? She lived to old age to see her legacy. She lived to see the embrace that she created in the world. And I just speak over you that you shall live to see it happen, that you shall live to see your victory, that you shall live to see your family overcome, that you shall live to see prosperity in your finances, that you shall live to see victory in your household, right? Rosa Parks lived to see that victory. She overcame the many footstools that was meant to tear her down. She rose up and she shaped a new life for people. She shaped a new life in victory. She shaped a new life for the world, right? So I just want to say that one thing that you think of that you can't do is probably the one thing that can really transform your life. It's probably the one thing that you do that will give you that victory, that will give you the restoration that you need. So I'm just grateful for everything that I've been through. I'm grateful of the mental institutions. I'm grateful of yes, it was traumatic, but being stabbed, because it showed me the goodness of God, right? It showed me that there is a God who can deliver. It showed me that there is a God who can heal. It showed me that there is a God who can restore, that there is a God who's walking right beside me, that there is a God who called my name and called me forth to stay alive so that I can do this TV show, so that I can help the world, so that I can do my advocacy work and pave the way for others. And Rosa Parks, when I think of her, such a beautiful woman, right? That she would give up her own personal life, that she sacrificed her thoughts and her beings, her desires to fight for us, to fight that we would have unity, to fight that we can all sit together in unity, right? So that's just so powerful. And I just want everybody to know, no matter what race, what denomination, what age, it's all love. I love everybody. I just want everybody to come together in unity and overcome, right? And when I think of this word overcome, it's overcoming something. What are you overcoming? Hate, envy, jealousy, pride. What are you overcoming? And in that overcoming, it's beauty once we overcome, right? We have our struggles, we have our pain, we have our sorrow, but it's God moving and shaping us for that victory. It's God moving us and shaping us and paving the way for us. It's God using our story for his will. It's God using our stories for his purpose. And Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, they fought for unity. They fought for justice. They fought for freedom for the land. And here we are standing today. What will we do with our moments now? What will we do with our time now? Will we walk in hate? Will we walk in fear? Will we walk in lust? Will we walk in envy? Or will we come together and say to our brother, no matter what race you are, no matter what age you are, what denomination, I love you. And together, we can make it, right? Together, we can overcome. Together, we can see that victory. Welcome back to Still Standing TV Show. I'm your host, Nikyra McCann, and I'm so honored that you are watching today. Today, I've been speaking of being an overcomer. From my own personal story to Martin Luther King to Rosa Parks. And here we are now, in this moment. What will we do with this moment? What will we do with this heartache? What will we do with this pain? What will we do with this suffering if this is you? We can either let it tear us down and send us back to where we came from, or we can use it to shape us, to make us into our victory. We can use it to grow. We can use it to restore ourselves for our families. So overcoming is more than just what you've been through. It's really finding your full potential in this life, finding your destiny, finding your calling, finding who you are destined to be. Whether it's going to college or becoming a lawyer or becoming the next mayor of the city, right? You can do it. Don't let your past hold you back. Don't let your suffering not let you make it to your overcoming. Don't let your suffering not let you make it to your victory. Because God is going to use the very thing that you are suffering in, the very thing that you are sad about, the very thing that you are hurt about. He will use that and turn it into victory. He will use it and mold you into something so beautiful that people will be like, wow, nobody did that but a God. Nobody did that but a restorer. Nobody did that but a deliverer. Nobody did that but a way maker. And how do I know? How do I talk with so much confidence? Because I know where he brought me from. I know the sorrow I had. I know the injustice I had. I know the suffering I had to go through. And he did it for me. He looked down on little bitty old me in a mental institution in isolation. And he said, you know what? I'm going to lift up your head. You know what? I'm going to lift up and take the suffering away. I'm going to lift up and take the sorrow away. And though people laughed, and though people slayed me, and though people overlooked me, there was a God standing right beside me, behind me, all around me, and saying, lift up your head, my daughter. You too can make it and be that overcomer who you are destined to be. And just like he did that to me, and just like he did that to Moses and David, he gave them strength to keep going. And I want to let you know that there is a God who can give you strength to be that overcomer, like myself, like Rosa Parks, like Martin Luther King. There is a God who can restore you and turn your situation around and give you justice and give you victory and give you love, a new love over sorrow and pain. So I'm so grateful for you to have viewed today and to hear my story and the stories of those who come before us. And in this moment, just take a moment, right? In this moment, just think of that one thing that's holding you back, that one thing that has sorrow over you from overcoming. Take that one thing and give it to God. Give it to God because he can deliver you. He can set you free. He can make it in a way that your ending is so beautiful, just like he did for me. I used to be somebody in a mental institution, but now appointed by the governor. Nobody but God can do that, right? Nobody but God can transform a life, turn a nobody into somebody. So in your sorrow, in your pain, lift up your head, O ye gates, because there is a God who wants to help you overcome. There is a God who wants to help you have that justice, that victory, that unity in your heart and in your life. So thank you so much for watching this TV show today. I will have more shows coming up. I want to do some more interviews and more speaking engagements like we did here today. And just in my last closing, when I think over everything that I've been through and how I can now speak to you through a TV show, I realize that I made it because I didn't give up on myself. I became an overcomer because I didn't give up on myself. I kept pushing, I kept striving, I kept reaching towards the mark of a higher calling. And I just want to encourage you and embrace you today to not give up. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep moving forward. Keep reaching for justice. Keep fighting for change. Keep lifting up your head. Keep praying. Keep seeking God because you are an overcomer. And I speak that your days ahead are your wellest days. Continue to keep your head lifted. Continue to stay in prayer and know that there is a God who is with you that made you an overcomer today.